Escape from Tarkov can sometimes seem like an uphill battle, and by uphill battle, I mean climbing K2 at 5 in the morning after only eating a can of tuna and having about 2 bottles of whiskey the night before. But in today's Escape from Tarkov tips and tricks video, I want to show you some exploits and small mechanics that are going to make your time in this game that much easier. Now, I do feel like I should just point out that although some of these things aren't meant to be in the game, and some of these things might be classed as like exploits, what I really want to get across to you guys is that none of these things that I'm going to tell you are going to make anyone else's enjoyment of this game worse. I wouldn't want to spread any information that is going to put you at a major advantage to anyone else in this game, because I don't think that that's fair and I don't think that it's good for the overall health of the game. Also, I do just want to point out that if you haven't smashed that big red subscribe button, then you won't be subscribed. So, you know, do that. But anyway, the first thing that I'm going to talk about today is something that Clean made a video about just yesterday, and this has seriously changed the way I've looked at Tarkov. And basically what it is that you can change the FOV of how you're looking down your gun. You can change the amount of eye relief you have on any weapon in the game. Now, at first this may not seem like such a major thing. However, if you're using pistols or SMGs, this just makes the game feel that much more immersive and makes the game flow so much better. Rounding corners feels smoother and less janky and jarring, and the actual visual recoil of the gun appears to be lessened. Now, to be clear, this isn't changing anything to do with the recoil of the weapon. However, because the gun is further away from your eye, there is less perceived visual recoil. Now, the way that you do this is whilst you are aimed down sight, you can now free look by holding the middle mouse button, and you can look left and right, and this will pull your field of view out. And then what you need to do is then line the camera back up with the center of your screen and hit the tab button. Then when you tab out, it will be locked at this extended field of view, and this just makes such a huge difference, and it's such a nice quality of life change. And although I do feel like they might patch this in the future, I really do hope that they make this an actual feature that you can select on and off. Okay, next I want to tell you how you can get into scav raids so much quicker. Since this wipe dropped, it has taken upwards of like 7, 8, even 15 minutes to get into a scav raid. However, there is a simple trick that you can do to get into a scav raid in like 2 or 3 minutes max, and all you have to do is when you go into this scav raid, before you start the game, just invite any randomer that is sat in the lobby, and then once you have sent that invite, just cancel it, and then you'll be able to just join the raid. Basically, this is now telling the game that you are entering the raid as a group instead of just a single player. You can see up in the top right here, instead of saying 0 out of 4, it now says 1 out of 4. I have no idea why this works, but it definitely does, and because of this, you'll be able to get into scav raids that much quicker, which means that if like one of your teammates dies, for example, and they're on their way to the extract, you'll have time to do a quick run of factory whilst you're waiting for them, whereas before you had to wait like 15 minutes, and for a lot of people, scavving just wasn't viable because of this. Now, the last little dedicated exploit that I want to talk about is something that I'm sure most of the veteran players will already know. However, if you're new to the game, this is going to help you dramatically, and this is slow leaning. Now, for those of you who don't know, slow leaning is when you press Alt and then A or D. Now, the actual tip here is that if you're holding a right hand peak and then you slow lean, as long as you don't go all the way to 100% of that lean, if there's anything like a raider, a scav, a rogue, a scav boss, any sort of AI, if there's any sort of AI behind that piece of cover that you are now leaning across, they will not register that they can see you. In fact, it almost seems like the AI in this game has been written so that it knows if you're either stood up or leaning all the way. This means that any other sort of lean between 0 and 100% means that the AI will not register that they can see you. This is how so many people were able to take on the raiders in reserve so easily and just one-tap them all in the head, and this is probably why you find it so goddamn hard to do it yourself. So next time you're facing rogues, scav bosses, raiders, or anything like that, just make sure you're using this slow lean technique, and it will make your life so much easier. Now next, I just want to talk about a little mechanic in the game that is not an exploit, but I feel like a lot of people aren't utilizing to its full potential, and this is the fact that you can shoot under so much of the cover, and when you couple that with the fact that when you shoot people in the legs, you can end up killing them really quickly with ammo that is otherwise super trash. My friend sent me this clip here whereby he takes out this player who thinks that he is running to safety and cannot be seen. However, he can see perfectly clearly underneath this truck, and as a result is able to just take like 3 shots to his legs and drop the guy with absolutely no danger to himself at all. There are so many places within Escape from Tarkov where you can do this, and you can see undercover, and you'll be able to take shots at people without them being able to see you, which is going to make your life so much easier and give you some really creative advantages when you get into some of these more intense gunfights. And then finally, the last thing that I want to tell you about is stop paying therapists to heal you. I know this is something that, again, a lot of veteran players already know, but for you new players, especially in this early wipe when you're low levels, instead of paying therapists to heal you once you get out of the raid, instead use the Grizzly or any other meds that you have to heal yourself outside of the raid. Not only is this going to save you a shit ton of cash, but it also counts as the same amount of experience points as you would have got if you healed inside the raid. This means that you'll be able to get free XP just for healing yourself whilst saving yourself some money. It's a no-brainer, and I really do think that it's a must for every new player, especially when you're trying to grind those low levels. But anyway, for those of you who have watched my videos for a while, you'll know that I love to see who sticks around until the end. So if you're still here, I'd like you to let me know by answering this question down in the comments. If you could pay £10,000 to spend a day in your life in 15 years in the future, would you pay it? Anyway, that's it from me today. I'm Joel. Peace.